Hey y'all, welcome back. Let's call it episode 2 because actually so much has happened since the last time I sent out an audio. But I wanted to record more. There were more things that I was irritated about or saddened by, and similarly, there were things that I was really happy about, but I did not have a means to record. You know why? Because the same day that I recorded the first episode, I lost my AirPods. Yeah, I don't know if it's a sign, or I don't know, this is I'm supposed to seek happiness out there, that even with certain drop offs like this, you you keep moving into the direction that you want to move in. And so, yeah, here we are on a Monday talking through, um, actually, talking in a break room um, with so much that's been going on in my head over these past 2 days. The weekend was good. I get to spend so much time with my daughter, but I missed my other daughter, my canine daughter, so much I cannot even express. And now that my daughter has started speaking, she looks at my phone and she keeps mentioning my dog, and I'm like, oh, well, she is big enough to understand how we can, keep the dog safe and how can we involve the dog in our day-to-day activities. But yet, our dog's not with us right now. Just FYI, she is with my parents right now, and I eventually hope to get her back with myself. I don't know when that day comes. I don't know how we are going to make that happen, but well, I put that responsibility on my husband's shoulders. I hope that happens soon because I can see that my parents are not able to manage her properly, um, because my mom has a lot of health issues, and even does my dad. They're not able to take her out for her regular walks. She's going to be turning 5 next month, and it's not a good thing for her. It's been over a year that she's not been getting her regular walks. She does get her daily dose of, workouts at home. My mom does play with her, like, things like hide and seek, fetch, some sort of a treat hunt. But yeah, she doesn't get to do her walks, and I feel that's something for a dog, which is not a good thing. I mean, they should get to go on walks. They shouldn't be limited to just our houses. So yeah, that's that. Another thing, she has huge amount of separation anxiety. I think she got that from me. But now that my mom has to go to work, she sometimes stays alone at home for durations like 8 hours as well, and I think that's not good. And even when my mom comes back, she has to, like, do or attend to something else that she's been working on, and so because of that, my dog doesn't get a lot of attention, and that keeps eating on me because here when I'm staying with my in-laws, there's so much that goes on in my head, and I feel if my dog, was around me, I would have, calmed down. I would have managed my mental state better, but well, that's not the case. It's sad. It's really sad. I hope it turns for good. Anywho, so over the weekend, I did get to spend some alone time with my husband and my daughter, and how that happened was we went on to collect my spectacles. We went in an auto, we came back in an auto, and I think this excursion for went on for about 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and that's that. That's the only time the three of us got together. And at the end of it, my daughter was craving for some nursing, and so we had to come back. We planned to eat outside because now, with my husband working from office, oh well, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. So my husband also works from office, but his is a late hour shift. And I also work from office, but for half a day for rest. Half I go back home and then spend time with my daughter and then resume work. And so in between this, my husband and I, we get really less time to spend with each other. And yes, we also get very, very, very less time to spend together as the three of us as a family. And yeah, so we did get to see some Netflix. We watched One Piece, amazing second season. um, and for most of the time, my daughter was around us sleeping, or she was also trying to watch, and we were trying to not let her see. Um, Again, it's not because of the show. We just don't want her to like start or getting hooked onto the TV so soon in her life. We want to delay it for as long as possible. So yeah, we took her out for this activity to go out in the auto, go to a new store. We hopped stores for some other sort of shopping, and then we came back. So that's that. There was so much that shouldn't have happened the way it did during these days. For example, work wise, I was supposed to send out a communication of a launch on Friday, but it was also my daughter's vaccination day and I was on half day off. And I thought maybe later in the day I would finish it, but then I realized no, not now, now that I have family. At least I don't want to compromise on my daughter or my husband or on my dog's time, to be honest. And yeah, I know it's rude of me to not include my parents or my in-laws in this picture, but I still feel that this is the family I chose and then created by myself in like, full agreement, compared to like getting hooked onto these other two families, as in our parents. And so it's okay if sometimes I want to prioritize my work or my well-being before the parents, but I think it's not okay to prioritize my work for sure before or prior to my kids or my husband. So yeah, I had to send that communication out. I didn't. And today on Monday, thank God I didn't, because I spent some good 2.5 hours in brushing it up, cleaning things better, and then sending it out. So yeah, on Friday it would have been a rushed up email. And there was a time back in the day when I used to think that, oh god, this idea just struck. I've just gotten this data sheet and let me just review everything. Wow, the formula is working and everything. And so let me just deep dive tonight and send the communication out before sleeping. Otherwise, I'll not get time to sleep, or I'll not be able to sleep. I've done this multiple times in the past, and later, after that action, when the email has been sent or the final report has been shared across, I have found out that something in the data was wrong. So there was some data discrepancy, because of which the entire finding was incorrect, even though the method was wrong, even though the method was right. And that means that I spent so much of time on doing something, given extra hours. But had I, reviewed the data before, or had I given myself some break and start on it afresh, I think I would have identified that miss by myself. So it's great that, the communication that I was supposed to send out on Friday last week, I didn't, and then took some time and then did it today. But I feel in this habit of mine, I sometimes rush some other people, and so because of that, I feel I might have upsetted one of my teammates, my colleagues, wherein a couple of weeks ago, she mentioned that she's working on something, and she asked me if it's okay if she does that, and I'm like, okay. Now last week, because I was in a hurry to finish up certain tasks, I did that thing. And while I was doing that, I realized that, whatever idea that she has proposed, it was nowhere to be seen. And so I thought maybe she didn't do it. And if she's going to take some time, it's going to delay my goal. So let me finish it off if I can. And let me send a communication out to the team, so that if it is the same thing, she would highlight. And if it isn't, she'll probably not say anything, and then I can make the change accordingly. Well, she did highlight it, and her tone was, as I mentioned in our offline communication the other day, this is not something that sorry, this is something that I've done already. Maybe you should do it. And I am pretty sure under her breath she is just giving me some words that shouldn't be said. But I was like, okay, fine. And then right around that time, we were on a team call, and I chose, let's just talk it out in front of everyone else and clear it off. And she mentioned that, yeah, it's the same folder, it's the same work domain, same line of business. I'm like, oh, no worries. I'll just remove what I've done. I'll create a new task in this project and I'll tag it to you so you can close it on time. Day 2 of follow up. I think that was a Thursday. And I got the confirmation that from my manager that yes, that person has done this. And I'm like, okay, great. Have you guys tested it on a sample sim or something? And I got the confirmation, yes, they have. I'm like, okay, are you going to be sending out a communication or are you going to be updating it somewhere? Like, yes, that's gonna happen. That person would do it. I'm like, okay, I'll wait for it. Day three has come. I don't see any changes. And so, day three, I inform that person again that I've added you on the task. Please acknowledge it. And I've informed my manager that this is what I've done. Today is day four, which is a Monday. Ideally, I would have sent the communication out on Friday, which I didn't, and thank God I didn't. Otherwise, I would have still left on certain steps. Uh, um, yeah, so I finished all of that, all the paperwork, everything, sent out the communication. Now she's still not done it. I've informed her. My manager's on off, so I don't know when that's gonna happen. But this happens a lot in teams where you see a lot of opportunities that can be improved in your team, in your work domain, but usually does nobody ever picks it up. And then suddenly everybody just jumps onto a similar problem, like all together, and everybody wants to take their credit. And I feel that's something which is not good. And I'll tell you something that I did here. So while I was working on this project and I was supposed to send out a communication on Friday, I sent this entire document to my manager for a review. It just like on a very high level, it included all the information that I'm going to be sending out in the communication. And she made a suggestion. My first response to the suggestion, she made a suggestion in the comment box on the work document. I hope you all know. So I saw the comment, and I feel what she's asking me to do led to something that has happened here in this situation where there was a project that I was working on, and then somebody else also worked on something. And we could have completely avoided this had we set up clear guidelines initially, right? So, so the task that my manager was asking me to do is something that this other person is working on. Like, I know this domain because I was one of those people who would set up the team. But right now, there are other people who have taken certain tasks which I was working on earlier. And I'm like, initially, I was like, shit, they have taken up my work. But now I feel it's okay because this gives me, not only do I already know what they have done or what they are doing, like, not only do I have the working knowledge of those tools, I also have the scope to learn something else, and that's going to help me in like my overall development, right? So that's what I'm focused on. And so I just thought, based on my manager's suggestion, that if I do what she's suggesting me to do, it's overstepping on somebody else's work domain, and I do not want to do that. And so let me not do that. I wrote a follow-up comment stating this is somebody else's work, so I'll just submit a suggestion. Although, what I realized was I am going to play this good cop with everybody, but then with these smaller miscommunications, I might get judged incorrectly, right? Because I can already sense with this another colleague of mine that there's some sort of a weird vibe going on now between us ever since I dropped that comment in our group. Okay. And I want to clear it up, but I feel I'll not get a chance to clear it up for quite some time now. And so I thought that let me make this change for now. Like do this suggestion that my manager has suggested me to do, which basically is something that this other person should be doing. But let's face it, that person has not done it so far. Right? If it is your domain, why have you not done it? Why have you not prioritized this, ma'am? I'm sorry for fumbling there. And so I did it, and I have sent the communication out. Now, well, call me baddie if you want, but I don't think I'm a badass here. Come on, I'm just fixing for things which other people aren't able to, and that's still leading us into like a repetition of activities. So, in my point of view, I think I've simply simplified somebody else's work. And I think for somebody who cannot confront and do a tit for tat, because the first time when this colleague of mine mentioned that this is what they have done, which is a part of my task and or my major project, and like I wasn't able to, and she did ask me if I'm okay with it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, why not? but I wasn't okay with it, to be honest. And I did not know how to deny or how to say that no, just bucker off, keep to your own limits or keep to your own projects. And so I feel this was my tit for that. Yeah, there. Anyway, so this is it. Today's talk is more about things that happen at work. Comment if you also end up in a situation where people like do not fix some things for quite a long time at workplace, and then suddenly everyone's jumping on the same thing. Maybe share some stories if you have. Well, who am I talking to? I don't even know if I'm going to be getting any viewers here or listeners here. But well, yeah, if you do echo with my thought, where we're not always able to confront people, but then, and we also don't want to play dirty, but then we do what we gotta do. And so for some people it might look badass, even though in our heads it's not being badass. We just walk with confidence where our legs are shaking. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. Have a good day.